Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Aesop. I like stories. They challenge your perspective and display moral dilemmas you can never encounter in real life and learn from them. They have really helped me shape myself, and watching and reading them is like gaining experience point without experiencing them. One such story is 2006 German film The Lives of Others. The Lives of Others is a film that takes place in 1984 East Berlin during the rule of German Democratic Republic. On the surface, it revolves around three characters, but I believe it's about two, and one doesn't become a character until the very end. We follow Gerd Weisler, a Stasi officer, who is this cold guy doing interrogation and surveillance for the state. He's appointed to run surveillance on Georg Draemen, who is a popular playwright with high connections. Weisler, without question, takes the job. Weisler, residing in the attic above Draemen's apartment, listens, and honestly, that's all he does most of the film. He listens. He's supposed to be a representation of the audience. Weisler at this point is not a character. He's sitting in the viewer's chair, listening and seeing things unfold without interrupting and interfering. Weisler begins eavesdropping on their dinners, their arguments, their lovemaking, their dreams, and their vulnerabilities, and in doing so, he feels something he hasn't felt in years, if ever. He, who did not have any meaningful connections with anybody, starts to crave one. This becomes pretty clear in one scene where, after hearing a poignant moment between Draemen and Krista, Weisler returns home and gets a visit from what I'm pretty sure is a state-appointed prostitute. After a really short intercourse, he asks her to stay for a while. Not because he wanted more sex, he looked pretty exhausted there. It was because after listening to Draemen and Krista, he wanted to emulate their emotional intimacy. Just like how after viewing a romance film, one might feel the desire to have a partner like that, or how watching Rocky gives you a surge of motivation to overcome hurdles in your own life. None of this is happening to you, but you would want to recreate that same feeling. Weisler's transformation is not wrapped in grand speeches. You notice it when you see him walk a little slower to his house, when he lingers a moment longer on a piano melody, in how he omits incidents to protect Draemen, and that invisible smile he has when he reads a poetry book. Meanwhile, Draemen is also undergoing changes. He, who tiptoed the line of being state-approved artist, enjoying his privileges, couldn't do that anymore when his beloved was being harmed by the minister. The final nail was when his friend, a theatre director, after being blacklisted and surveilled to the point of despair, commits suicide. Draemen writes and publishes an article in West Germany exposing the East's cover-up of suicide statistics. This would have destroyed him, if not for Weisler. This is when we see the extent of Weisler's change, because this was a moment Weisler was waiting for, listening in on his mundane life to figure out if he's enemy of the state or not. Initially, Weisler expected to hear anti-government plotting and connections to the West, but it never came. All he heard was a citizen who believed in his country's ideals, but was driven to this point by the corrupt officials. Draemen was just a normal citizen. However, the course of this rebellion is tragic. Krista Maria is threatened and broken, on the orders of the minister, by none other than Weisler. She discloses that Draemen is the one who wrote the article using an illegal typewriter. This gives the Stasi a chance to raid Draemen's apartment. Now, this is the second most favorite scene of mine from the film, where the Stasi raid the Draemen's apartment, trying to find the illegal typewriter. Draemen stands there in silence, hoping his deception holds, only for Grubitz to find the secret compartment where he hid the typewriter. During that moment of tension, Draemen's eyes meet Krista's, as if to ask her if she was the one who told them. She, being unable to hold herself back from shame, runs into the streets. However, to Draemen's and Grubitz's surprise, that compartment is empty, absolving Draemen of all suspicion. But it is too late. Krista, running into the streets like a retard, is hit by the truck and dies. Draemen runs into her, holding her in his hands, asking for forgiveness, still believing she was the one who took away the typewriter. When we skip to after the fall of Berlin Wall, Draemen runs into the minister, who is now holding no power, and he tells him how he was surveilled, to Draemen's shock. Draemen then requests his Stasi files, and sees how meticulously the reports were falsified. Someone who he did not know protected him. The initials on the pages.
27.
Later, Draemen finds out that Weisler is working as a mailman. He gets out of the taxi, wanting to approach him, but at the last moment decides against it. He drives away, just looking at him. And now comes my favorite scene from the film. 2 years later, he writes a novel, Sonata of a Good Man. Weisler sees the posters of that in a bookstore and goes inside to take a look. He picks up the book, and when he opens it, the first page reads, dedicated to HGW XX/7 in gratitude. The clerk asks him,
Geschenkverpackung?
Weisler says.
Nein, es ist für mich.
The lives of others is the reason I like stories. The film does a really great job in showing a relationship between Drayman and Weisler, which is akin to a character and an audience. One is unaware of other's existence, yet his existence serves as a lesson for the other. Weisler is the embodiment of a person who let the story change himself for the better. He depicts the arc an audience goes through during a film, from indifference to interest to sympathy to empathy to understanding, and finally, change. The only difference being, he was able to change the story he was listening to, becoming a character and part of that story himself. In turn, him becoming a learning lesson for the audience. If I had to make a critique of this film, I would say that the scene with Weisler and Krista Maria when she's dying was unnecessary, as it gives away too much. It is akin to the opening scene of The Predator, where you see the spaceship. It does not make it a bad film, but by not having it, it would have become exponentially better. And that's it. Thank you to anyone watching this video. Thank you for giving me time of your life. Thank you, and bye bye.